Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode. And today we'll be talking about the EFL Carabao Cup, whatever you want to call it, the Champions final. Well, champions, of course. That will be coming up between Arsenal and Manchester City. This is going to be a very difficult game. Coming off the football in this week, where Arsenal won against Leverkusen and then Man City had a very terrible outing against Real Madrid. Bernardo Silva, don't let me say too much about that. Their design got a red card in the first few minutes of the game, and then everything just
Believe.
eventually
Went south.
believe got a red card. Let me just say believe. So I don't say too much about the design. Everything just went south. Although they managed to get a goal in that match, but it was not enough. And now they play Arsenal in the
This was
Carabao
not
Cup.
enough. I mean,
Arsenal,
they lost. They managed to get the car.
Arsenal, Arsenal are very hungry for a trophy. And we have seen games between Arsenal and Man City, turn out in a very interesting manner where you find Pep Guardiola actually trying to defend a lead or struggling, tactically against his apprentice. What do we think will be the outcome of this game? Let's start with AY, the Arsenal fan.
So, like you said, it's going to be a very difficult game. Take nothing away from Manchester City. Take nothing away from Pep. Pep is way experienced. He has been to more finals than Ateta. He has coached way better players than the crop of players Arsenal currently have. So the match is actually going to be a very difficult game. However, that's been said, Arsenal, we are on a very good run of form, coming from both the league and the Champions League. From the league, I think if Arsenal had lost or drawn the game against Everton, I stand to be corrected. Maybe City would have gone on to win their game against Forest because that would have maybe pushed them to say that okay, this is an
Yeah.
opportunity for
Extra
them
motivation.
to go ahead and win. But we saw a clip where Alan was actually watching the Arsenal game at and when Arsenal scored, I don't know his reaction, but we saw it. That's to show that they also follow Arsenal's matches. They know what is at stake, and they also want Arsenal to lose. But unfortunately for them, Arsenal won that game, and the manner at which we won, you would see that most Arsenal fans would. That was like the defining moment for them that okay, we can actually go on and actually win this league because the goal from the assist from Doman for Gyökeres and the way Doman scored his goal, it was just point blank. Okay, this is for Arsenal to win. From City's perspective, we no Arsenal fan would genuinely want to bet on City to draw that game. We were just hoping that City were going to draw because, but coming from if you are being realistic, you would know that City should have won that game. But City this season, they are not the City of previous seasons. City of previous seasons, you can rightly say that they would go on a 10 game or from January, they can go on without losing a match. They can go on and the maximum number of points they will drop will be probably two or three. But this City, I don't know what's actually wrong. I don't know what's wrong with them. Some people said they are actually in their rebuilding phase. I don't want to agree because City is still City with Pep. They have players, and if they are in their rebuilding phase, I don't think Pep would go all out in January to spend money on Gay and Semenyo. He actually wants to go and challenge for all the competitions available. That was why he decided to spend the amount he spent. Now, City, on the other hand, they drew against Forest and they lost against Madrid. Now, some people will say a wounded lion, a wounded whatever. I feel Arsenal will maybe wound the lion the more and 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 beat City. And City's last game or last two finals at Wembley, if I'm correct, they lost against Palace and against United. If I'm correct, my memory serves me right. They lost their last two finals against at 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 Wembley. So I see a repeat of that happening for City. Why? Because Arsenal, we okay. Anyway, City also did the same thing after our win against Bayern Leverkusen. We're able to rest players. We're able to bring out players, and we're able to say that okay, these guys would play weekend. And we have one of the best, if not the best, robust squad depth in the league. Gabi Jesus is not injured, and yet he has not played for a couple of games. Whoever comes in our back line can successfully slot in and play well. They might not play at the level of Gabriel and Saliba, but the drop down that we've seen, or the drop off that we've seen in previous seasons, that would see someone like Holding coming for Gabriel, or we'll see someone like Papastopoulos coming for Koscielny over the past seasons. We've tried our best to bridge that gap. Now you will see. I can't remember the last time Lewis Kelly played, and this was someone that was starting games week in, week out last season. Now we have Calafiori there, we have Nkapi there. Last game, we didn't even see this guy went out against Everton, Timber, and we brought in Mosquera. So in terms of squad depth, I think it would also play a huge factor in that game. Why? Because I would say about 40% of Arsenal's goals have actually come from the bench. Look at the last game against Everton. Gyökeres came in from the bench, scored. Domangi came in from the bench and scored. Our match against Leverkusen, of course, Rice came in. Rice started the game, and Eze also started the game. And some would also argue that Eze's form towards summer gets better. I don't know what his issue is with summer, because we all know that. Okay, I don't know if you guys know. Eze has he has these health issues. Some will say he has maybe asthma that he uses inhaler. So some would argue that. But City, on the other hand, I'm happy that they are playing without Gay, because that alone is actually going to affect them. Of course, Rico Lewis is back. He played in the Champions League. Yeah, they had to bring him in to probably get him accustomed to the team so that he will be prepared for the final. But you can't compare Rico Lewis to Maguire. Maguire is someone that is very solid at the back. If they have a Maguire, I'm sure that
Our defense will be better for
exactly.
it.
Because a Maguire and maybe Fofana at that back, or Maguire and whoever,
And
Maguire,
Chalobah.
Fofana, James would make a very good defensive whatever. So Maguire not playing is actually a huge blow for them. Of course, Semenyo would actually play. Not as much as I would not want him to play, but he is actually a very big threat. At this point, I would prefer Haaland to play than Semenyo, because Haaland over the past, I think he has only scored twice this year, if I'm correct. So Semenyo is someone that is an example of a player that hits the ground running immediately. Just came in, he played the cup competition, he scored maybe a brace or scored one, and he continues scoring from there. And Semenyo is someone that will give Arsenal's defense a run for their money. And why is that? He's not an out and out nine. It's someone that can just play across the three positions in front. So it's actually going to be a difficult game for Arsenal. But I think because of our defense, number one, because I don't trust our attackers, because Gyökeres is someone that you will give him 10 chances, he would want to hug the ball. Someone said that he trafficates before he shoots. So
what does that even mean?
So it means that before you
already know
that he's going towards the right. So based on our defense, because I'm 100% sure Saliba and Gabriel would start. I'm not just sure if he will start Raya or if he will start Kepa. I'm sure Pep wants to start Donnarumma, and Donnarumma is actually a beast. But Gay not playing would be a huge blow for them. So to round it up, number one, based on our defensive structure, that anybody can come in and play. Two, based on our squad depth, that anybody can come in. If Bukayo is not playing well, we have a Madueke that can come in on the right. Even though his output is finishing is poor, but the cuttings and assists would actually go a long way. Then other players, we have Doman. In as much as I'm not a fan of throwing him into, like, using him consistently. It's more like a wild card for me. Like, don't just throw him. Just if it's when you actually need him that you play players like that. So I think Arsenal would win, and I want Arsenal to win because the result of that game would go a long way for both teams. If Arsenal go on to win that game, then the conversations around Arsenal going for the quadruple would now gain traction. People will now start taking Arsenal serious that these guys might actually go for the even though I don't believe that we would go for the quadruple. For me, a league at the EPL and a cup is okay for me. Anything that
I don't even think it's really about you people gunning for it. It is that there are a couple of difficult games ahead. If you get past Sporting in the Champions League, yeah, you would have a difficult game coming next. So
so for me, the
conquer
EPL,
conquer home first, then you can now look at Champions League.
But if it's please go ahead.
For me, the EPL and the cup competition is fine. Next season you can start going for champions or whatever you want to go for. So the result of this game would go a long way. If it goes Arsenal's way, you can now say that okay, the race for the quadruple is on, and it will also motivate the players more because they know that okay, now they've secured
one trophy.
Yeah,
with the Premier League in sight.
Yeah, so they have the confidence, they have the calmness to go on and play the Premier League games. But if they don't win, it will now give the City, it will be more pressure on us now, and City will now have the motivation that okay, we can actually catch up to these guys now that they've even gone out of the Champions League, so they can put their attention on the league and maybe on the FA Cup to see if they can win that. So it's a very crucial game for both teams. But as an Arsenal fan, I would tip Arsenal to win.
Shall I wanted to add something?
Yes, I wanted to say that. If somehow Barcelona don't get past Atletico Madrid, and Arsenal get past Sporting. Arsenal had already humiliated Atletico Madrid before. So so
but I think it will be a good game between Barcelona and Arsenal.
Arsenal, I would love to see that.
It will be a very good game.
Yeah, I don't want to see that too.
It's a game of one team is actually stronger and tactical.
I would actually like to get Arsenal to get their revenge. Those days of
Arsenal are actually a more balanced team in that sense compared to Barcelona, in my opinion, in terms of strength and also the technique.
Yeah,
Arsenal on their day, if it is not all this Premier League, pack the bus. Arsenal are a good team.
Look at the goals we scored in Champions League.
But Arsenal usually struggle against Newcastle.
Well, that's because Newcastle is a Premier League team.
Newcastle is a Premier League team. Newcastle is a physical team. Barcelona, they are more technical.
They are more technical than.
No, I'm just saying that same Newcastle, Barcelona blew them over the waters.
Yes, because Barcelona just looked at them like, well, let's go all out. These people cannot defend till the very end. Which is true. You cannot defend against Barcelona till the very end. They are young, they are fast, they are skillful, they are technical. They have Lewandowski up front. If things want to burst, Lewandowski will squeeze out one goal. They have Rafinha who is informed. There's Lamine. There's too many things stacked against Newcastle. So Pedri, Fermin. So and they even brought in Araujo when that boy was messing up behind. So it's well. I would want to see Arsenal against Barcelona actually.
It would be an interesting one.
To be an interesting game.
Brown.
Yeah.
This Arsenal game, of course, it's no news that I don't like Arsenal for sure. There's no love lost there. I don't.
I don't like that. We see that you will prefer your arch rivals.
I don't like Man City either. But between the two of them, I'll pick Man City over Arsenal for the sake of love, right? Now the reason is simple.
For the love of Manchester.
This one is not love. This is for national.
The reason is simple. When Arsenal eventually, as much as it pains me to say this, when Arsenal eventually wins a couple of trophies this season, we will not hear word. People like Declan Rice will be argued to be the best.
Manchester United is only trying to enter Champions League position, and we are not hearing word. So people are the same now.
So now Declan Rice will now be the outright Ballon d'Or contender. Before you know it, David Raya is better than Buffon. Before you know it, Saliba has had a better career than
John Terry.
Like these outrageous statements will start flying all over. And that is what I will not be able to contain. I cannot live through it. Please. I cannot imagine living through it, right? But I mean, that's on a lighter note. But seriously, right? Arsenal, Manchester City, they have played each other countless times. I think a couple of years back, you would confidently say that Manchester City would do a good one over Arsenal. But recently, this is the worst City side I've seen, to be very honest. Ever since Guardiola moved to Manchester City, this is the worst I have seen of them. They are not confident. They cannot pull series of runs together. The strikers are not scoring goals. They hardly create chances. And Manchester City was deemed as one of the most creative teams in the Premier League under Pep. But this season, it has been shambolic, right? So, as hard as it gets, Arsenal, I see Arsenal being the favorite in this game. Because yes, Arsenal has gone through all of the tests. As much as I hate them, right, I have to respect them for what they have done this season. And for that, I honestly think that it will be a very, very difficult game for Man City rather than for Arsenal. If you look at the Carabao Cup, the road leading to the finals that we speak of, Arsenal, in my personal opinion, had a tougher challenge than Man City. Of course, Man City played Swansea, then they moved on to play Brentford and eventually Newcastle to the finals. And then you look at
Chelsea.
Arsenal. Arsenal playing Brighton, they went on
Chelsea.
to play Palace side and eventually Chelsea leading to the finals. So yes, in my personal opinion, Arsenal has had the difficult tie leading to the finals. And then when you look
And
at
for the
the kind
record,
of players,
sorry to cut it short, Bram. For the record, we've only lost 3 times this entire season.
okay,
That's hot.
one against Manchester United, if I
United,
recall correctly. Okay,
recall well.
okay,
You also
that's
lost
it,
against
that's it,
Arsenal.
that's it,
You also,
that's it.
you also lost against Arsenal.
Manchester
Okay,
United, man,
okay.
we will always find a way to drag
Yes.
them into the
So,
positive side of the
so
conversation.
I mean, we are the biggest club in the world. So yes, back to the conversation.
Where you want to put Madrid?
When you look at these finals, right? Arsenal, in terms of balance from back to front, they are better. Donnarumma, excellent goalkeeper. I mean, you cannot take away anything from the individual players of Manchester City, but as a cohesive unit, Arsenal is a better team, right? So it is going to be very, very difficult for Man City. Not so much for Arsenal. Of course, it's a finals. You don't expect them to sit back and concede goals. Everybody would want to play, right? Because at the end of the day, a winner will be pronounced. But when you look at the solidity and then the fluidity of the Arsenal side, they have players that can come off the bench and impact the game. They have players for every single position that can come. In fact, you can even sit David Raya out of this one, and Kepa will do a good job on the day, right? So Arsenal has that going for them. Not so much for Manchester City. Of course, what's his name? Haaland is one of the best strikers in the Premier League. Scored tons of goals. As much as he's not scoring recently,
Interestingly,
he's topping
he's
the
been
goal
more
charts.
more involved with assists this season. The best, I think, he has had 7.
Okay,
So
so
his
now,
own is just to score goals.
so that he hasn't been scoring goals, but again, Haaland is a striker any day, anytime that any team would love to have. But Arsenal, they are doing. In fact, Arsenal has scored over 100 goals this season alone in all competitions. So Arsenal are also scoring goals from back to front. Defenders are scoring, midfielders, strikers. Unlike before, that they are so reliant on a injury-prone Gabriel Jesus. So Arsenal right now has a better firing power, in my opinion, than Man City. And then in recent times, you would notice that the shift has been Guardiola, who was fearless against a Mikel Arteta side, is
Now it's
quietly
fearful.
it is lopsided now. Now it looks like he's now beginning to be fearful of this Mikel Arteta side. And the evidence will go back to the game that he played against Arsenal, that he was parking the bus. And that is not something we speak of about Guardiola, right? So it is evident that indeed he's now beginning to, show some more respect, and there is signs of fear when it comes to him playing against his protege. So ultimately, I don't know how this game, whether it's going to end in 90 minutes or after extra time, but at the end of the night, I see Arsenal winning the trophy.
Oh, so
As
sweet.
difficult as
That's very
it is for
kind
me
from
to
a
say,
Manchester United
I
fan.
see Arsenal winning the trophy.
Okay.
Giants.
Arsenal, Manchester City. That's definitely a game to watch. Shola, you wanted to add something just before we finish here?
If there is a trophy that Arsenal will lift this weekend, it's gonna be
A bottle. It's going to be another bottle.
it's
If
gonna
they
be
don't
another
win it,
battle.
it will be crazy.
No. It's. I don't think there should
won't be
be. They
crazy.
don't win it. It won't be crazy. They are playing against Manchester
I
City.
mean,
They are
Manchester
playing
City.
the
Man City.
psychological aspect of it is
Well,
what is
yes.
important.
Well,
Because
yes.
they are at the brink of winning serious trophies this season. But
Look, no
given
stress.
that this finals is coming before all of those ones, if they fail to win this one, it will go back to raising those questions of, oh, they have been here before, they have not been able to do it. Arteta has not been able to win a trophy in X number of years. All these conversations will begin to creep in. And these players are humans. They will hear these things, they will feel these things, and somehow, it possibly might begin to impact their game.
I
So
think
for the
that
psychological effect it will have on them, I hope for their
if
sake they win.
if Arsenal have learned, if they've learned anything over the past couple of years with this near success syndrome, is that at this point till this season is when they need a psychological beast, somebody that will tell them whether you win this or you lose this, continue to push ahead. Don't let anything derail you, because if
That's
they
why
lose
you
against
see.
Manchester
That's
City,
why
of
you
course,
will see a player like Inkapi that won the unbeaten run with Bayern Leverkusen. When they bring him on to play, you will see the passion. You can't compare them bringing in Lewis Kelly that has not won
Capia
anything.
has won in a team that did not lose any
He
game
has
that
won in a team that he has won in a
Bundesliga
team,
season.
exactly. So he knows what it takes. Then we also have a defensive coach in Gabriel Heinz, who has actually won also. So he's someone that people
The
say,
same Gabriel Heinz.
Yeah, who played from United?
Oh,
Yeah.
he's someone that people say Arteta actually looks up to as his elder brother. So I'm sure he has also won. So he knows what it feels like to win. So these latter stages of the league, of the cup competitions, where in previous seasons that we've actually faltered, these guys that have done it, that have been there, done it, will now be the one to say that, okay, it's this point that we now come in. We give you our support emotionally and mentally. Hopefully all this, my grammar, would make us win.
Hopefully.
It will not make you win. I particularly like the Leverkusen example that you used. I think maybe it was you, Michael, that used it. They didn't lose until Ademola Lookman happened to them. That same way that Ademola Lookman happened to them is the same way that either Semenyo or Ryan Cherki or Jeremy Doku or maybe Elilalang will even get resurrected back to life. I mean, he has ended his drought now officially. Maybe he can continue his scoring, his newly found scoring form against Arsenal. I will just say this, right? Man City, even though the results, they've not had the results like in recent matches, especially against Real Madrid. They were not really bad against Real Madrid, especially when they went to the Santiago Bernabeu.
They didn't just take their chances.
They didn't just take their chances. And the caliber of chances that Real Madrid had, it was more like we just launched the ball, defensive error, lashed onto it. Valverde was just brilliant in that match.
That's how you know a good team. Get your chance, score it.
And we have our chance in set piece. Corner, we take it.
So and again, it was unfortunate for them to concede that red card, at home.
Early.
I mean that it's like a natural reflex. A ball is coming at you. It's more like reflex.
Yeah, it was reflex.
It was reflex. You didn't really think about it. There are just some things that your brain just already know. Your brain knows how to react without. Although they are footballers anyway, that shouldn't be an excuse. But at times it was just more like a battle between the brain and the body and the technicality of it. So it was unfortunate for them to consider kind of penalty. I wouldn't mind them considering, but they could actually, even with red card, they still managed to score. Just for you to see how tactical Pep could be and how strong this Manchester City team are. So against Arsenal, I also don't see. I mean, what is going for Arsenal, like you have rightly said, is Arsenal they don't lose. They don't lose. And they somehow find the way to grind out results. Even when they were almost losing against the Bayern Leverkusen, they somehow found that shambolic and ridiculous penalty kick to work in their favor. And they just get away with everything this season, but not anymore.
No.
Not
Arsenal
anymore.
did not get away with everything. Oh. They
They
put
get
in
away
performance.
with-
They put in performances too. There are things. There are things that we can say for sure that we don't agree with. I mean, the punching and the dragging
They
and all
get
of
away
that.
with a lot.
But they've actually
Even
played
Raya,
good football.
even this one. That ball that Raya just came and pushed the ball wasn't outside. It was already outside the box.
Name me a better goalkeeper.
Anyways, let's leave all of
That's
this Arsenal shambolic goalkeeper competition.
So
This is
on-
Arsenal. This is about Arsenal
Arsenal-
Man City.
Arsenal Man City, yes. So City, I mean, one thing I also like about Pep right now, especially when he plays against Arsenal, is he's pragmatic. It's not his usual, we just try to keep the possession, keep
Pep is
passing,
also
keep
not at his
passing.
best. Whenever Pep becomes that pragmatic Pep, it's mostly out of fear. Sometimes.
Yeah.
Which is fine as long as you get it. Like, as he was able to get that result at the Emirates just because of this pragmatism. Because if he had, even then they were not even that good compared to Arsenal then, that beginning of the season. They were not like at that same level with Arsenal then. But he managed to get us 1 point. He went to Anfield also. He got the 3 points. He met Newcastle several times, and we were thinking maybe finally Newcastle will get one over them. Blew them over. So even the matches that they've dropped points, it didn't look like they were going to drop points in those matches. It just sort of like happened, and those crazy and dogged and stubborn relegation fighting West Ham and Nottingham Forest that is not making the league to be interesting right now. So, and also Everton almost got a point against Arsenal. This almighty Arsenal that we all are shouting about, they almost got a point against them.
You can't just take games out of context. Everton sat back all through that game. Man City would not sit back.
Which is because Man City don't have to sit back against Arsenal for crying out loud.
No, it's also a final. Nobody should be sitting back in the final.
Exactly. So who are you, by the way? Who are Arsenal that Man City will not be failing you and be sitting back? Plus his Carabao Cup. Pep had won it. He probably just wants to play his best football and doesn't care.
It doesn't matter. I think
exactly.
It's a cup. It's a cup
regardless. But again, now if you're gonna put the players side by side, you can say all you want about Arsenal, about them being a collectively brilliant team and stuff like that. But I can't place Donnarumma and even Raya. There is one that has won the Champions League, won the Euro.
This season, Raya is the best goalkeeper.
Forget clean sheet of this season. We are talking about a goalkeeper. We are talking about a goalkeeper that has won
this season.
This Manchester United fans.
Yes, I know.
This season, we are talking about this season. Not don't be doing calf thing. Yeah, bringing the past.
We are not doing calf. No. We are not doing calf. Okay, in your team. Okay, let's say not even in your team. How much do you think they will pay for Raya right now? And
they will pay more for Raya than Donnarumma.
I don't think so.
Well, that question cannot be answered. That cannot be answered directly. That question cannot be answered directly.
Of course, Donnarumma based on what he has done. Of course, he has more.
How much did Manchester United? How much did Arsenal buy Raya from wherever it came from?
Exactly.
We are talking about the current rate.
Of course, the value has increased, but compared to Donnarumma, maybe not. Of course, in terms of performance. In terms of performance, Raya is the best.
Let it get to penalty shootouts.
Okay, that's your prayer. That's your prayer.
No. That's not even my prayer. I'm just saying let it get to penalty shootouts. Can you still beat your chest that?
Well,
put all your money on.
I would choose a Kepa. Kepa is good at penalty.
Kepa is even better at penalty.
You cannot even choose.
That's why you have a balanced team.
I have a balanced
team. Man City, Guardiola used to bring on Caballero. Was it Guardiola? Or
yes, Caballero
for penalties. Yes.
Now,
it's okay.
Do you think Pep will bring in any other goalkeeper than his goalkeeper against that match?
If there's any goalkeeper that is better at penalties than you,
that's by the way. We've seen the caliber of saves. Even against there was this fantastic save against Brian Bumo that Donnarumma just pulled out from nowhere.
Raya has made crazy saves.
No doubt.
Even Robert Sanchez has made crazy saves. So
Onana has made crazy saves.
No doubt.
Onana, how?
No doubt. No doubt.
When it was at United, I made crazy for it.
We said the
Full
one
respect on
Okay. Let's just finish. Let's finish Arsenal, Man City.
I was just trying to place the players individually side by side. That maybe Man City on an individual scale are even better. Collectively, Arsenal, of course, but even individually, they are not even comparable. You probably want an Haaland in your team than a Gyökeres. Even a non-scoring Haaland, you probably want that Haaland in your team.
At this moment, today, no back line of City will start for me. City, no keeper, no City.
I agree. Maybe except Gay. But who is the better defender between Man City's defender and Gabriel Magulisha?
Exactly.
Who's
That's
better?
what I'm saying
Who's better?
individually. If I say collectively,
Gabriel Magalhaes.
Magalhaes.
Even their midfield is the attack that can start choosing maybe Semenyo.
What do you mean with their midfield?
Cheki. Who wants to bench Rice? Who wants to bench? What is
Rodri's off this season. Rodri's off this season. Rodri is off this season.
By the way.
But it's not by what he has won. It's not by what he has won in the past. It's not by what he has won in the past.
Show me your Ballon d'Or.
anyways, that will be all for that will be all.
Not even your Ballon d'Or. Show me your EPL.
Anyways, thank you guys for your thoughts. You know, Arsenal, Man City. I think the overwhelming position is that Arsenal should be able to get something away from this. Shola disagrees. Shola thinks Arsenal will pick the bottle instead of the cup, but we'll see how that game pans out on Sunday. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section. And see you on the next one. Cheers.
Yeah. Cheers.